Hi, everybody. This is Coach March here. I wanted to give you guys a few updates in light of all the cancellations and uncertainty that we face, not only with school, but with sports and life in general. I wanted to, in a way, give you guys a sense of maybe a possible path forward. And so, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was actually something called the Two Rivers Track Club and what we might be calling the Springfield Social Distance Project. And so, so if you can stay with me for the next few minutes, I'll try to explain how we might be able to build on, admittedly, was a really inspiring summer of training that many of you guys put in without many of the normal supports that you traditionally would have had. And so I'll tell you about that. Things that we need to discuss with this that I'll be kind of going through with this video here is the Two Rivers Track Club, what it is, why, how to join, that sort of thing. What are fall practice locations, what the practices would look like, who might be coaching you, social distancing, health guidelines, things like that. I'll talk about the training plan and how you can build upon all the summer miles that you guys did. And then the types of runnings, the phases, how we actually put our race season, race calendar together. And of course, talk about perhaps maybe some possible races. And probably where I'll start first, though, is actually talking about just team philosophy and shared goals, because that's ultimately what will drive how we do things and and what we want to think about when we're doing those. And so anyway, the philosophy and the goals here. The main idea with doing something like this in the fall, continuing on in a club sort of atmosphere, has a lot to do with this idea of developing in-person connections that are sorely missed at a time like this. And this in no way, shape, or form is a way to thwart or circumnavigate health codes or things like that during this crisis. You're going to notice that hopefully we will follow all the health guidelines and be as flexible as possible with those, because they ultimately could change. And I'm going to try to set this up to where at any moment it can become an all online sort of thing, and we revert back to kind of what you guys did over the summer. So develop the in-person connections I think is a critical thing at this juncture for many of our student athletes. And so I want to, in some sort of way, get that going as safely as possible. The next little bit is individually be held accountable as far as just a goal goes. I know that sounds maybe a little bit more on the threatening side or a negative sort of thing, but I see it as a hugely positive thing. It's something that I think we miss. I think I want to be held accountable. I want to be known that I matter, and I know my student athletes want that as well. And I think the way we can format this club will give you a sense of that. In addition to that, to continue basically fostering a continued healthy relationship with running and physical exercise. That's obviously like the main underlying goal of all the things that we're doing is trying to provide a way to be healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually through anything. For that matter, we just happen to use running as a way to do that, but it can basically work on those application skills for everything else. And of course, the last one is something I care deeply about, but I want to introduce newcomers to and continue to cultivate a welcoming program for all young athletes, regardless of their ability or experience. We have some incredible juniors and seniors who've been with us for the whole time with this program, and I know they have an incredible amount of wisdom that they want to share and can share, and an incredible amount of wisdom that is embodied within them from former athletes. And so I want to make sure there's not a gap there for any of our newcomers. I think there's some incredible people that you'll get to meet. And so I want to provide an avenue for that. So with that being said, how do we do this? Well, the Two Rivers Track Club traditionally has been over the years a summer track program, but it is a USATF sanctioned club, and its members you get liability insurance, things like that. It's basically to make sure that we're covering our bases as far as being, like club. And so, but basically, if you want more information on how this club or how you can become a USATF member and be part of the club or things like that, show up this next Wednesday or Saturday at Heron Park to receive information on how to join. And we'll have more information on how you go about doing that. How much does it cost to join this club? It's $25 to get your membership fee. And then above and beyond that, as far as like a club fee goes, we're doing this because we believe in the stuff that we talked about here, and so we do believe deeply in it. And so there's not a fee for joining the club or anything like that. We want these things to happen, and so, as far as like gear goes and things like that, if we want to order t-shirts or design t-shirts, we can do that. Races, if we get to those sort of points where we go beyond us just putting on our own little get-togethers and things like that, those could vary if we're joining an actual sanctioned event and that sort of thing. Those fees can vary from $5 to anything and above. So, cost is relatively low for something like this for what you can get out of it. And so, as far as the training schedule goes, I'll show you that and click on that here in a second. And if you're looking on this on your own, there's a clickable link, and I'll provide this in the Google Classroom. But the training will be basically loosely based upon a 12-week 4-phase approach to the 5K. This is actually traditionally what we do. It's actually more like a 24-week program, but your first 10 to 12 weeks are actually spent over the summer. That's the goal of actual summer miles, is you're actually doing phase 1, and that's your base miles, injury prevention. Basically, whether you're experienced or a newcomer, you were just getting yourself to the point where you can run every single day and your body can handle that. Then we can kind of start in on phase 2, which is kind of repetition, early quality stuff. You don't need to know what this stuff means. Phase 3, intervals and transition quality. And phase 4 is like the competition stuff. I'm hoping to basically get some of you guys, or if not all of you guys, to be running really fast 5Ks by the end of October. And so that's the goal. I decided that if we were to do this, that if we were to practice, this would not be a daily thing. And so I wanted to be part at home on your own and part together. And so the practices themselves, I basically put on workout days. So what are called quality sessions. So we do about 3 of those per week. And so we would do practices on Mondays, would be at Doris Ranch, and then Wednesdays and Saturdays at Heron Park. Those 3 quality sessions per week would be, again, in person, and then there'd be 3 to 4 easy runs per week, just completely on your own. If you're a newcomer, if you've never done this stuff, didn't do summer training or anything like that, some people will be entering into phase 2 and phase 3 right off the bat. If you've never ran before, you'd be doing like phase 1, basically. And so you're going to be doing similar workouts through the whole thing, but the volume and intensity is modified for each runner individually. And so the goal is to match the stress to the ability. And so, so if don't be shy if you think you haven't done as much as somebody else over the summer or anything like that. Everything's matched to your ability. And so, don't panic. In other words, here's what the training schedule actually looks like, and there'll be a link to that as well. I'll zoom in just for a second here. There we go. So just for you to be able to kind of see the colored in sections right here will be the in-person sort of section. So Monday at Doris Ranch, Wednesday at Heron Park, 4 to 6 o'clock, and Saturday, 9 to 11. The practices are not required or anything like that. They're optional. And they don't have the actual individual workouts in there yet, or will you be able to see those on here? Those will be disseminated that week. And so each week workout will be kind of briefly discussed right here, so you can kind of see what kind of workout that you're getting into. And yeah, and that's basically it. So you feel free to look through this, and you'll see how the phases will change as you go on, and eventually you'll get down to late October, early November, where we'll throw in some sort of 5K either on our own, or join some sort of race and see how fast you guys can run. It's still up in the air as to whether other groups do the other races. So like Oregon Track Club may put on races. They typically do those on Thursdays. If that happens, we just move some of these things around. We could always do easy runs together, and you guys could do workouts on your own on those days or what have you. And so we can always modify everything as we go. So that's a little bit brief sort of thing on the training, how that whole thing works. But again, the whole goal is to get you running fast by the end of October, early November, at the end of a 24-week odd cycle, and your body's hopefully at that point ready for a nice little break. And so that's where we'll try to get you to. As far as practice goes and things like that, we need to follow all health guidelines as social distancing, masks, things like that. And so masks must be worn when arriving at practice locations, be kept on prior to and after your workout. That needs to be enforced. We'll practice helping each other out with that and holding each other accountable for that. Social distancing, the same thing, must be maintained at all times, including during your workouts, 6 feet minimum. I know this is going to be different than what you're used to, but I think we could probably all agree that some minor inconveniences these things can be in order for us to do some of the things that we like to do. And so, so we need to take those things seriously. And in general, be smart about group gatherings, be courteous of others, especially out on the trail. Don't come to practice if you're feeling, or run even if you're feeling ill or things like that. You just communicate those things, and we'll figure things out. But anyway, social distancing, masks are paramount. Of course, there will be about 3 to 4 days that will be completely on your own. If you choose to run with somebody else on those days, that's entirely up to you. If you, everybody's going to be doing slightly different volume for your easy runs, and so some of you guys might go out for a 1 or 2 mile run. Some of you guys might go out for a 7 or 8 mile run. But whatever it is, this is just some basic information that was available in the summer training stuff about easy running, how to do that on your own, how to pay attention to your body. There's a huge range to easy running. And you'll just have to get used to what and how to do that. And so benefits are pretty incredible for what you get out of doing some easy running. And plus, once you start doing workouts, you'll need that recovery. And so in that active recovery. And so those easy run days, although they're called easy run, it's really just applying themselves to the pace. That's what the word means, is just a pace guide. And so they might be hard to do initially at first. So just because it says easy doesn't mean it might be an easy day. It just means easy running pace. And so anyway, as far as that's concerned, as far as coaches goes, we got obviously myself, James March, Aaron Lamb, who's our jumps coach in the spring, and Brittany Peterson, who does the distance in the spring and helps out quite a bit with cross country. We will all facilitate those workouts either in person or, if we have to, online. And if we have to shift halfway through this whole thing to do all things online, I'm still not even sure of my status as a certified staff member. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be told at some point that I can't see students at all. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed because I definitely miss you guys. I miss working with you. And so, but I'm going to do everything I can to basically help you through this. And so with that being said, I am already relying enormously on some experienced junior and senior leaders who will play a huge role in facilitating those workouts, and at the same time making sure that we don't have a gap in our program, and making sure that we create a welcoming space for all athletes, so that although we cannot do cross country in its normal sort of fashion, uh, we can still give, especially our newcomers, a taste of what our program is about. And again, everyone can walk away with a healthy relationship with exercise and running in general, which is again our priority goal. And so, anyway, if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. That's athletes or parents, and of course, if you want to ask those questions in person or things like that, first practice Wednesday, August 19th at 4 p.m. at Heron Park. That's Aspen and D Street. Again, wear masks, social distance, things like that. And we'll come together and we'll figure out a path out of this whole thing to get you guys getting connected once again. And so, like I've said probably several times already, I miss you all. I'm inspired by what you did over the summer. It's been fun to watch you guys. And yeah, I hope this is a way forward for us. And I hope you guys get excited about it. And so, and I do know that many of your team captains and leaders are also cooking up some plans to do not just some regular sort of stuff with our program, but some fun things on the side. So anyway, I hope to hear from you all, and I very much hope to see you on Wednesday, August 19th. And so take care, and we'll see you then.